All right. So I went and I got the October Whitedwarf right here, the Ultimate Warhammer magazine. And if you're watching this, which you're not, because I know if people pop in, you might be wondering, well, Josh, you don't play 40K and you don't play Age of Sigmar, so why did you buy Whitedwarf? And if you just looked at what's in here, there's some interesting things, but none of it has the words Kill Team in it. But there is much more for Warhammer Age of Sigmar and 40K. And that's what we're looking for because, if you look in here under the Warhammer 40K section, it does have, let me see if I can get the glare off. Right here, Vanguard reinforcements, new and updated rules for using Vanguard, Space Marines, and Kill Team. It's on page 76. So that's why I got this, because the Vanguard Space Marines are the Space Marines that were introduced in the Shadow Spear box set. And we got rules for them in Elites. But if it was just for the single pose models that came in that box set, and they're now releasing the multi-kits for those that come with more options. And so theoretically, the rules for those guys are going to be in here. And not just like the Eliminators that have like more weapon options now, but also the Infiltrators in the box. You can build them as Infiltrators or you can build them as Incursors. And those rules are supposed to be in here. Not any updated rules for surprise. These Vanguard reinforcements, it's on page 7. Reinforcements. Aha! And here we go. Yep. Sorry, specially trained to operate behind enemy lines, etc. Kill Team. New and upgraded rules for using Incursors, Eliminators, Infiltrators, Reavers, and a Lieutenant in Phobos armor, plus Intercessors in your games of Kill Team. So it's some of the stuff that's already there. New weapon profiles, a new stratagem. That's fun. And okay, yeah. All right, so here we go. Adeptus Astartes. So reserve rules. All right, looks like during deployment setting up. So these looks like the same reserve rules that were in Elites. So I guess if you don't have Elites, there's the reserve rules for you. And then here's a new tactic called Outflank. Use this tactic at the end of a movement phase. Choose them on your team with those set up in the reserve to set them within 1 inch of the enemy battle. Okay, so this is just to repeat what's in Elites. So Elites, move on. Okay, so here's the Incursors. That's a new thing. Oculus, bolt carbine, bolt pistol, paired combat blades, frag grenades, and crack grenades. Insurgents. And the Haywire mine. That's the new big thing that they can drop a mine. Team phase model from your kill team with a Haywire mine that has not been primed from prime it. Yep. All right. Eliminators. They got a new weapon. A las fusel. And they can also take instigator bolt carbines. Is that the same thing as this up here? Armed with Oculus bolt carbine. So the instigator bolt carbine. Oh yeah, so a regular guy can take a las fusel. And yeah, there we go. And then they also have conceal position. So I think all this is the same as in Elites. And then Infiltrators. Some of this is different now. That's new. Okay, Reavers. I'm pretty sure this is the same line. Oh, Comet Knife, Grab, Shoot, Grapple Launcher. Yeah, they just added Phobos to. And so the Intercessors do got a new one, and I think it's because they changed some of the stuff. Yeah, right here. So an Intercessor Sergeant may replace their bolt rifle. They can now take hand flamers, and then now if they're equipped with a chainsword, he can also be is not equipped with a chainsword, he can be equipped with a power fist, power sword, or a thunder hammer, or a chainsword. So they can now take thunder hammers and power fists, which is kind of cool. All right, let's see. Lieutenant Phobos armor. This guy's different than, it's an updated than what's in the Elites box, because now they have right here, you can make it so they get the Reaver keyword and they become terror troops, which is kind of fun. And then here's the range weapons. So I think the Bolt Sniper Rifle got an upgrade. Now it's strength 5. And here's all this stuff for, Power Fist, Power Sword, Thunder Hammer, all that for your intercessors. And it looks like that's it. All right. So now, here we go. Oh, this is looks like it's for like kit bashing and stuff for your for kill team stuff. All right, I'll look at all that later. Entertaining. All right, but for now, I wanted to talk about the Vanguard reinforcements. So you've seen, so if you get this, you're going to get the reserve rules that come in the Elites book. So if you already have the Elites book, all that's the same. If you don't have the Elites book, now you can get the reserve rules from there. And then the incursors is the brand new piece of information. Incursors are not in Elites. And it looks like the big thing is the Haywire Wine. And then I think that this whole Oculus Bolt Carbine is a little bit different. We'll look at the different carbines here in a second. Eliminators, now the big deal is they can take Las Fusils. Las Fusils, and the Sergeants can take Instigator Bolt Carbines. So that's brand new for the Eliminators. The stats are all the same. Infiltrators, now it's added this comms array, which they didn't have before. Everything else is the same. And now they can only be comms if they have that infiltrator with the comms array, which is interesting. The Reaver, everything's the same except now they're Phobos keywords, which comes into play with some of the stuff in Elites. And then Intercessors, these guys now can take Hand Flamers, Power Fists, or Thunder Hammers. Okay, which is interesting. And then now your Lieutenant in Phobos armor, you can make him a Reaver Lieutenant in Phobos armor. Everything else is pretty much the same. All right. What's interesting is, so here's all the weapons. So let's take a look at some of this carbine stuff here. So I do think the Bolt Sniper Rifle, I think that's an upgrade. Let me look it up real quick in the Elites book, which is interesting because that going from strength 4 to strength 5 is pretty great. All right, so let's look up Captain turn Eliminators. Here we go. Bolt Sniper Rifle. Yeah, they used to be strength 4. So the fact that Bolt Sniper Rifles are strength 5 now, pretty cool. That's interesting. So they got a bit of a buff. All right, so let's look at some of this different carbine stuff. Here we go. So there's the Hand Flamer. Heavy bolt pistol, same. Instigator bolt carbine, 24 inches, it's an assault 1. 4, -1, 2. So how is that different than a regular bolt carbine? Bolt carbine. A regular bolt carbine's assault 2. Strength 4. So because it has armor piercing. That's what it is. And it does another damage. So that's why the Instigator bolt carbine is better than the bolt carbine, or different. Marksman bolt carbine. Who got the Marksman bolt carbine? 24 rapid fire 1, strength 4. Each is 6 or attacks automatic results in a wound. Do not make wound rolling for that. Unmodified hit rolls of 6. Who got the Marksman bolt carbine? Let's take a look. Instigators, Intercessors. No. Mastercrafted Oculus. Who got, what are we looking for here? Marksman bolt carbine. Instigator bolt carbine. Oh, Infiltrators. Infiltrators have a Marksman bolt carbine. Did they have that before? Let's take a look in the Elites rulebook. Let's see. Infiltrators. They did have Marksman bolt carbines. Were they the same? They were. So the carbine that the Infiltrators get is different. So that's interesting. Marksman bolt carbine. All right, and then the other thing we wanted to look at was the Oculus bolt carbine. So the Marksman is rapid fire 1. So it looks like they're the same, except add 1 to hit rolls for this weapon when targeting a model that is obscured. Okay, so it cancels out the obscurement. So that's interesting. So the Oculus bolt carbine is better against guys that are obscured. The Marksman bolt carbine, if you get 6s, you automatically get a wound. You don't make a wound roll. So the rapid fire rule is great for you. So you want to get close for those guys. The Instigator bolt carbine is the same as a basically the same as a bolt carbine, except you're losing an assault, but in doing so, you get armor piercing -1 and 2 damage. That's interesting. Okay, and then down here, but an automat is 6. This seems interesting. So I like having the incursor rules is neat. They have the paired combat blades. Do the infiltrators have paired combat blades? All right, and then so they get the haywire mine, which is a big deal. So these guys are brand new. A little bit of modification. Everybody else. Here's the things you should probably really need to running your intercessors and you want to mod them. You can just do that probably because the intercessor rules are in the core manual. But you're gonna have to download those. So I'm probably gonna download them and print them out. I'll if I think to do it, I'll put a link in the description, or I'll pin a comment with a link in it. The thing that concerns me, or that might be a bummer, is so added the ability for an intercessor gunner, or intercessor sergeant to take an Auspex, which makes me wonder if they just cut this out of the core manual, stuck it in here, and they didn't add those. Makes me wonder if those are supposed to be here, or now those guys no longer have those rules. So we have to wait for an FAQ or an errata to this. I really wanted to put an Auspex on an intercessor, both to put it into my Death Watch, because Death Watch can take intercessors, and also to just have it, because I want to kit bash an intercessor as a comms specialist with an Auspex to be kind of a spotter for my eliminator. That would be really cool. So I'll talk to Jason and see how he feels about that. But I'm guessing it was probably an error. When they did like the Eisenhower rules, there was a copy and paste error for that. So I wouldn't be surprised if somebody says something about that, or we can just kind of figure it out, because having an intercessor be able to take an Auspex sounds pretty cool, and we want to be able to do that. So that's interesting. I wonder how that's going to work out. The fact that there's no points in this magazine is kind of a bummer. But now, I was going to kit bash a Lieutenant and Phobos armor. So now I might kit bash a Lieutenant Phobos armor that's also Reaver. That seems interesting. And then they have announced the price for the Incursor or Infiltrator set. And it is a 10-man box, and it is like the same price as like the Reavers and the Intercessors. So that's kind of cool. It would be good for Kill Team. You could buy one box and build like 5 Incursors or 5 Infiltrators, or do some kit bashing, which is what I plan on doing. It's nice the Reavers now have the Phobos. Yeah. Well, there you go. So that is the Kill Team rules in Oct Whitedwarf. It looked like those Kill Team rules were actually followed by some Kill Team kit bashing stuff. So I'll take a look at that, and maybe we'll talk about it a little bit later. But it does look interesting. Huh. That looks like Death Watch. Is that Death Watch? No, that's not Death Watch. Never mind. Yeah, so that looks interesting. So we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at a bunch of that stuff, and maybe we'll talk about it later. All right, cool. Thanks for watching. This was the Oct Whitedwarf and the new Kill Team rules. If you have any questions, throw them in the comments below. I'll look it up, and I'll try to answer it. And if I remember, I'll go put that point list, link to that point list in the description below also.